I've decided to do a second video today on Sunday. It occurred to me, I'm like a prisoner sitting on death row, waiting for, death to come to me. Because, of all the other videos and all the stuff I said. I had collected, for that project, I had collected some 24 cars, had a 26-foot sailboat, two or three speedboats, 3 semis, a 26-foot bobtail furniture moving truck, which I called Big Bertha. It used to be a McMain's furniture store truck, and of course my 1948 Brill, which was my main home on wheels, and a Super Crown bus that I had acquired after 20 years. I found after about 16 years, I had finally found, because my Brill, my 1948 Brill, which was an all-aluminum bus, a total dream on wheels when I first got it. And I was working to convert that so I'd have something to live in Colorado or anywhere where I choose. Or I'd have an earthquake home to live in case of an earthquake, which is what happened during the Northridge earthquake. I went right back to living in my motorhome for a little while, which was never finished. I'm glad I never opened the roof on that bus, because I would have been really screwed. I had a Dodge school bus, which was like a 20-footer, but I opened the roof on that, and I had nothing but my stuff destroyed by the elements and rain. The stories I would write would fill. There aren't enough YouTubes I could record to explain to people how Los Angeles is directly responsible for what they did to me and what they're still doing to me. It doesn't matter whether they're doing it in the private sector or the public sector. These people are all evil, and they should be exiled to some island where they can never do any kind of harm like this. They're inefficient, they're stupid, they're dumb, they're greedy, they're egotistical. There's nothing good about them. And they're all in it with the media as well. That's why the politicians and the media are both responsible for all these shootings. Yeah, I know you heard me say, like I'm contradicting myself, that I'm glad all you people got killed. I'm glad all the shootings happened. I think I said this in one of my other videos. In The Day the Earth Stood Still, Sam Jaffe asked Klaatu, in the original Day the Earth Stood Still, he says, you wouldn't want to do anything to harm anybody, but just a little sample to show the world that you mean business. And he says, yeah, I think that can be worked out. You mean like sinking the Rock of Gibraltar? And Klaatu tells Sam Jaffe, the scientist, he says, like, you want me to show an example of how powerful we are, like sinking the Rock of Gibraltar? And Sam Jaffe looks at him, he says, that much power exists? He also makes that statement towards, when he mentions to him that the whole earth could be destroyed. And so Klaatu says, which is played by Michael Rennie, he says, yeah, that can be arranged. He said, tomorrow about noon? like it was that easy. So anyway, all the electricity is shut off. And Sam Jaffe's secretary comes in, and the only reason I'm repeating this, because this is what it takes to get the message through to all of you, that none of you have the same brains I do. I know more in my little finger, and that's what I'm going to die with. There's more in my little finger in knowledge and awareness than there are whole planet Earth. And to make that kind of statement is not egotistical. It's because I know who I am. I know what I represent, and you do not represent anything good. None of you. Not even the families of the people that got shot. Because if you really had gumption and anger, you would have gotten behind me back in 2000, and you should take it out on the media, because they blocked me. They censored me. They kept me from being able to come forward, because once I'd had national attention, even with the oil tankers as far back as the late 70s, things would never have happened that have happened in the last 30 years if you people had not treated me the way you did. And that was before I had me or my twin, had any altercations with the crappy LA Police Department or anybody else. So yeah, I'm on death row here. You've taken all my property, and you're still taking my things. Storage, etc., that crappy place over there. A place that I was forced to go into Because you people didn't know what I was doing. And it doesn't matter. It was none of your business to know what I was doing or why I was collecting so much. It's none of your business. I use the word D because I'm not saying the other word. The words that George Carlin and other comedians have said, you know, taboo words. So yeah, it's shameful. But I'm not the one that's ashamed. You people should be ashamed. You should be ashamed when you lower those boxes into the ground or move that body into the cremation chamber of the dead people in Colorado or any of the other places that have happened. Because they didn't have to happen. And if I was given that chance, you people would feel so ashamed. You would live. It would do me great satisfaction to know that you would live with that memory for the rest of your lives, that things could have been different if your country, your state, federal, and local crappy institutions had not treated me the way they did. It's as if I was being treated like some kind of stallion. Oh, we got to break this guy. We got to break him before we give him any kind of attention, because he's a loose cannon. He could do something really nasty to us if he was in total power. Can you imagine what I'd do to you now if I really was in power? If a magic spell was cast and all of a sudden, boom, I was absolute dictator, not just of the United States, but the whole planet Earth? There'd be a lot of you that'd be learning lessons real fast. And there'd be a hell of a lot of you running to go hide from me, because I'd track every one of you down. And stick you nude, drop you nude on some island somewhere where you can't do any harm to anybody. Relocate you just like they relocate the bears and the dangerous animals that come into your neighborhoods, where you've encroached on the vegetation and the animals in the wilds, and now they're coming into your backyards and stuff like that, and you got to tranquilize them and relocate them. You're the ones with the problem. You're the ones that need your brains examined. A guy mistreated like this, 24 car, took 9 years for LA, parking enforcement and whoever else, it doesn't matter. The whole list of crappy crew people that work for LA that took all my cars, boats, motorhomes, everything I'd amounted, which was actually going to move out of California to Colorado. Out there just south of Salida, near the Mishank Lakes and kind of over there by Alamosa, on the same highway as Alamosa. I think it's Highway 17. I mentioned that already. And the reason I chose Colorado is because there's geothermal activity there, and I wanted to plant some generators there on my property that would have given me and all of the people that I would search the world over to bring to my Shangri-La, where we could live in peace and tell the United States of America and the state of Colorado and anybody else that comes to bother us, give them the finger and say, go away. We don't want anything to do with you. Just like the Amish do, only different than the Amish. Go away. We don't like your religions. We don't like your churches. We don't like your philosophy. You're all evil and stupid on top of it. You allow this kind of stuff to go on, and you just create more laws on top of laws until it's such a quagmire, nobody can make any sense of any of it. And on top of it, you can use all those laws to attack people like me, to circumvent civil rights. Because that's what Los Angeles did. They circumvented every civil right that I was supposed to be protected by. If there's anything evil in this world, including your crappy churches, all of them, and all your ministers and priests, it doesn't matter. You're all evil. There's nothing good about any of you, because if you're all here, you're all contributing to all of this. And there's not that much wrong with all of this. It's you, the people, that make it wrong, and that use the technology in the wrong directions, and that build a quagmire of laws that just sits there and hurts people like me. Knocks us off the struggling ladder of success over and over and over again, making us start all over. And again, not one person has said anything on YouTube. Not one person. Matter of fact, I got like almost 200-something views on the very first video, July the 21st, where I say Colorado shooting the truth. and then it's all weird after that. There isn't, and the reason the numbers are so weird and separated is because YouTube mixes up my videos and doesn't put them on the main program list. I guess maybe because not enough people are looking at it. But it's not that I want views, because I know what you people are used to viewing. Naked girls, blood, gores, and guts, stories of people getting shot. That gets millions of views, whereas I only get, what, at the most, 3-digit views? 200, 300? Everything I've talked about, my oil tanker, the double 2-story special house that would have saved electricity and water for the country as well as everywhere in the world. Everything I've talked about, I've said and reiterated. It's all in the videos. There's more than 200 videos I've done. I think it's close to 300 now. But regardless of how many videos I've done, and regardless of how many rants and raves, how many times I've repeated myself, it doesn't matter. I don't have people knocking down my, well, I can't say knocking down my door because I don't have a place to live. I mean, you know, I thought I had a place to live. I was teased for almost a year and a half while Howard Summers had my Brill bus inside their tow yard, and I would eat over here at Burger King on when I can eat because of my broken teeth, and I would sit over here on Burger King and be teased and tortured, knowing that the bus that I worked on for almost a decade and a half was sitting there in that yard again. And that there was nothing I could do to get it out. Because it's almost impossible to find a place for me in Los Angeles. First of all, I'm on a fixed budget. Second of all, whenever I've gone to different places, there's all these extra rules. On top of them asking ridiculous prices for their rents, whether it's commercial or private property, there's all these extra rules that prohibit you from having buses in your backyard on residential property. Then if you go to commercial property, the inspector still can come and screw with you. And on top of it, the realtor wants you to pay twice the rent to be in any of those places. So even if it's $1,000 a month, for something like $1 a square foot, you got to come up with $2,000. I can't do that. Hell, I can't do that right now to save what I've got in storage over the forced storage, etc. places that I had to be in because they took all my cars, boats, trucks, and motorhomes, and they mixed my life up, forced me to move my stuff in and out of vehicles and different things, trying to hope desperately that I can hold on to the most valuable things, and I ended up losing it all anyway. It's different when it's a natural disaster. I've said this before. It's different if a natural disaster comes and destroys a person's property, their cars, their boats, everything, their whole home. When a natural disaster happens, that's different. I can understand that. But this was done by people. Unless you want to classify human beings as part of nature, which makes them a living natural disaster, that they persecute people and destroy and take all of their valued possessions, and every possession they took from me forced me to lose more time in my life just trying to catch up and trying to hold on to what I had. I don't want you to understand. I want you to feel my pain of more than 25 years. Like in the movie, I'll go back to the day the earth stood still. So the secretary comes in, and she says to Sam Jaffe, people are just running around by ants. Nothing works. Nothing's working. And Sam Jaffe takes his pipe out of his mouth, and he says, tell me, Clara, or Sarah, or whatever he calls her, he says, does all this scare you? And she goes, oh, yes. And he goes, that's good. I'm glad. And she gives him the weirdest look, like, what is that? And the reason is because he knows something she doesn't. That the politicians won't meet Klaatu, and the United Nations won't, so that he can give them the warning that he's going to give them. Instead, they kill him and shoot him and kill him and hunt him down, just like they've been hunting me down, persecuting me, as if I'm Klaatu. I mean the real Klaatu, in living flesh and blood. And I'm here from another world, and they're persecuting me because they don't understand me. They're all stupid. They? Who's they? You people, all of you. You even have it in your stories and your fictional books, your mind games that all of you play. So instead of helping me, people ignore the whole situation. I'm just an entertainment thing on YouTube. Sit there and turn down the sound and make fun of me, and sit there and do this. This is where I say bullies still exist. They exist right here and now. Right here in the adult world, supposedly. Bullies are everywhere. They're in your job. They're your employers. They're everywhere. And you're threatened. If you don't do your job right, you can be fired. No one should live or work under that condition where they have a threat hanging over them. That's not. If they're good at doing their job, they should be commended. When they make a mistake, well, you work out with them and you say, well, don't you think you could have done it a little differently, without jumping on them and raping them and making them feel like less than a person that they are. So yeah, you're crucifying me. You're torturing me. I'm on death row. This is death row. Los Angeles for me is death row. So I only got a few more minutes left here, and it's getting hot, and the sun's starting to creep over here where I'm at, sitting in the shade, so I guess I'm going to end this here, and maybe somebody will contact me on YouTube and that has a lot of money and will feel some kind of sympathy and say, we'd like to help you out. But if you are out there, you better do something before the 1st. Definitely before the 1st. Or at the latest tonight or tomorrow, because I got problems coming up. Real serious problems. All right. Talk to you later.